Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to have all of you. And for those who don't know me, my name is Jean-Joseph. I'm a data engineer and work for Microsoft as a Microsoft technical trainer. I'm based out of New Jersey, originally from Haiti. You may feel the Creole accent. And also, I'm the main organizer and founder for data-driven community. Under data-driven community, we have cloud data-driven and feature data-driven, which is a conference we normally launch every year, which is scheduled for this September. I would love to say thanks to all attendees and organizers, and also um, uh, remind you, if you would like to connect with me, feel free to scan this. This presentation will be based on ChatGPT. I will mainly focus on Azure OpenAI and SQL database. How can you integrate them, right? And I will touch base on LangChain as well. But just to remind you, it's just a beginner guide. Okay, cool. Let me, this is the agenda, right? I will introduce ChatGPT a bit, and then I will explain how can you integrate this, and I will also talk about some of the best practices, and also there will be a recap, and then how can you sign up to have access to Azure OpenAI if you want to try using your business email. Great, perfect. So before we go to ChatGPT, I would love to revisit the progress of machine intelligence, right? This is something that's been there for so long, right? It's not something new. What make it so excited these days is because we have better computations and storage. So, when it comes to machine intelligence, it's all about data, right? There must be big data. For artificial intelligence, this is something been there since 1950. And the goal of artificial intelligence is to mimic the capability or the intelligence of human being, right? Because if you consider you do require to take breaks, you do require to take vacations. There's a number of hours you can work for, right? There's a tons of limitation when it comes to human being tasks. Consider if you're performing some analysis on um, regarding things in real time. You understand? So to keep track of the things instantly will require a good amount of human being to be available to for them to split that task. So this is where, for example, since early 1900s, we as human beings were looking for a way to make our life much easier. While we're sleeping, we have kind of a replicator of us that can perform the jobs. So great. Under that, there is a subset that called machine learning, right? Machine learning is giving the opportunity of the machine to learn on its own without being programmed, right? Um, it's still based on neural network, right? But the layer is kind of three, so therefore there's a limitation when it comes to complex tasks, right? What happened to perform complex tasks, we happen to have limitations. So the limitation come by adding more layers into our neural network. This is where deep learning comes in, right? Because for you to be able to extract data from a specific pattern and find relationship, it will require a tons of complex tasks, right? And then therefore, this is what we call about, we can call like deep learning. When it comes to GPT, it's based on LLM model, what we call large language model. As you can see from here, which is the G stand for generative, and the P stand for pre-trained, and the T is for transformer. The generative is the ability of a model to generate new text or content, right? Like you can think of something like chatbot, right? For pre-train is the fact that the model has been trained against a large data set. You can think of internet data. You can see how huge that data set can be, right? And then not only it is being pre-trained on a large data set, but even before you can think of fine tune for a specific task. So from there, you can see the value of it. The transformer itself, it's all about attentions, and attentions rely on what we call a context. So, and we're gonna debate more about this, right? The transformer use the neural network architecture to extract pattern or relationship and even convert user input to token and even numeric to see what would be how the generative response should be. Cool. Um, for generative AI model, right, there's a couple of them. We have ChatGPT. I think, about 100 billion parameters, if I'm not mistaken. There's Codex, there's DALI, where you can generate image. And then there's ChatGPT, which is based on what we call GPT, GPT 3.5, correct? How does ChatGPT works? Right? When we think of the large language model, consider you as a user. You go to Bing and you click on chat, and I'm about to demonstrate this soon. And then, or you go to OpenAI, Playground, or even ChatGPT, you start typing. Great. And once you type, you can consider this as a user input. As you can see, you can type your questions or statement. Once you click enter or you submit it, that input get converted into what we call tokenizations. And a token can be considered as one word, but depending of the length of the word, you may end up to have, for example, more or less tokens. And because computer learn better with numbers, these will be converted into numbers and send it to the generative AI. And then the whole of this layer is to create a new text or content. So once this is done, it will send it to the transformer. The transformer is all about attentions. So therefore, context matter. As I mentioned earlier, it will leverage deep neural network to extract pattern or relationship. And then once it's found out, it's have a sense or the context of what would be your expectation, in our case, the user input. This is where the generative response comes in. You have the output. For LLM, it is, you can see, it is based on what we call deep neural network. But here's the thing, your output rely on the quality of your input. So this is where the prompt engineering comes in, right? Because if you only type your output, ChatGPT may generate an unexpected result set. And as the best practices, you can only trust ChatGPT if you're 100% sure of what you're doing, because sometimes you might need to revisit the answer because it's all about context. So if the user input um, didn't have enough keywords, instructions, the interpretation may be done wrongly. So therefore, ChatGPT can guess what would be the answer, even that answer never exists before, right? So this is the reason why it's always best, for example, to understand the quality of your input. But the thing is, this is kind of new to all of us. There is no right, wrong, except that we can try. Even myself, I'm new to this. So to this, but I can see how cool is this, to get to know, how to properly chat with ChatGPT. Perfect. In case if you want to sign up to have the free access to Azure OpenAI, I will share this by the way, but you can take a picture. So this is the one where you can request. This will require you, for example, to have to use your business email. And for Bing, you can see the chat, the daily, which is the image, you can see that. And even if you want to have access to the public one, you can do that here. Great. So here's the thing. The goal of this one is to keep it a little bit uh, level beginner, right? But I'll be happy to interact with you in case if you have any questions, feel free to do that because the interactions is what will allow you to get more from me. Great. So the benefit of integrating OpenAI or ChatGPT with your SQL database is that it will allow you to use natural language to analyze your data, right? The same way I'm talking, ChatGPT can interpret it. If I say SQL query, it will go and provide me a SQL query. And if I say, for example, uh, Python, it knows exactly what is Python, right? But sometimes, if you think of optimizations, once you know you're good at something, the script might need to be optimized a little bit, and you can even optimize or fight on your user prompt to make the transformer understand where you're coming from. So therefore, guess what happened? The transformer can go and revisit that user input and perform the optimizations based on your expectations. Great. You can use it to perform complex query. You can use it to automate tasks. There's so many things you can do. Let me just give you a brief overview of the demo. Okay. So what I'm going to do, this is my VM. Okay. If you take a look here, once you create your OpenAI services, right? Guess what happened once you open it? This is what you will get. Here you can see we have a playground. The playground is what will allow you to chat, and the chat, I will go over that. We have a demo on this. And then we also have a completions, right? We have, in case if you want to create image, so DALI is already integrated. There's the deployment model if you want here, as you can see. This is your chart interface. This is your completions. This is your DALI. If I want to create an image, consider if I want to say, okay, create a logo for SQL set. Okay, create a logo for data and AI. So if I say generate, it will try to guess and it will create it for you. As you can see, it's created for you, right? But things you might need to take in consideration, the data, it's designed more for image. You can see there are, something doesn't sound too right when it comes to text. It doesn't write it correctly. For deployment, this is where you will deploy your model. And this is the type of model we have. So we have a code DaVinci, we have GPT 3.5, we have TextAda, we have, for example, embedding if you want to perform some something against, for example, Azure Search Cognitive. Okay, and we have so many different kind of model exist. You can also bring your own data set if you want to. If you want to, for example, more specific, rely to your data. And the good thing is Microsoft will not use your data to train the LLM. So therefore, there's security there, and you have VNet, right? You have private endpoint, so many things that you can use. You also have quota that will, for example, give you consider if I click here, I can perform and try to, for example, go and increase the length of my tokens, right? To deploy a model, let me show you this. All you have to do, you go to deployment. Not sure why my system is a little bit slow. Yep, perfect. So consider if I have to deploy a model, because here, these are some things that is constant, right? For you to leverage them, you have to deploy it. So to deploy it, I can click here. I can select the model that I want to. Okay, when I'm selecting it, guess what happened? And consider if I need this, I like to keep it the same name. I'm gonna paste it here. I can go on advanced and define the token per minute if I want to. And you are being charged by the token as well. So therefore, understanding the amount of tokens you need for a given task is very important. Cool. So you can add some filter here if you want to, but in that case, I have nothing here. Now, here's the thing. Consider if you want to explore the completions. You have your model here. Everything you deploy will be available under deployment. So now I'm using GPT. Okay. As you can see, if you take a look here, I have some examples here. Yep. So if I click on this one, it says Postgres, but I can choose to say SQL Server, right? Okay, let me say SQL Server. If you take a look here, what this one's saying is that it's provide some insight, right? This is employee table, this is department salary. And the instructions is that you have to provide a query to list the name of the department which employed more than 10 employees in the last 3 months. And we give it a hint. You have to use select. If you think here, you will see there's something say temperature. Temperature define the level of randomness. Do you want it to be more creative, balanced, or precise? 0 is kind of creative, 1 is kind of precise. So you can see this is your tokens, right? And then there's some other parameter, probability, frequency. So consider if I click generate, what it's going to do now, it's gonna take that input and generate a query for me. And you can see that it's generate the query exactly the way I want it, but we could have get it done different way, right? Because of the demo, I'm not gonna go into the query optimizations, but once we're doing um, uh, the prompt engineering, I will go and discuss me a little bit, just probably next 2 minutes. So you can see the goal is to give me something in the last 3 months. We have it here. And then it has to be more than 10 employees. We have it here, as you can see. And guess what happened? It used a group by, it knows that. And it used natural language to do that. Consider this is how you can exploit. We have different parameters. Okay, as this is a data conference, I want to stick into the data. For Chat GPT itself, what I like about Chat GPT, it's giving you, for example, access to let the system play a role. If you think of this one, there's a system message. The system message, this is just an example. It says for you are an AI assistant. Let me change this. Let me say you are a data engineer, okay? And your task, is to help to create, okay, SQL script. This has nothing to do with your uh, uh, expectations. So you just assign a role. You remember what I said. LLM have been pre-trained on the internet data. So therefore, there's no specific task. You have a general overview, so you can fine tune to any kind of specific task. This is what, instead of I rely on the entire knowledge base LLM have, I explicitly tell LLM, this is your role. So therefore, focus in this area. I could have done that the same way here on the completions. Doing this one, I could have done that, but it will be part of your user input. So what I have to do here is tell this guy, okay, this is who you are. I think I have a nice script available. Just give me one second. I type something. I know it might take a bit of time. Perfect. So if I come here, I said, okay, so can you please provide me with a query to import data from a local file containing product name, okay, sales date, and for example, sales price into a SQL data base. So if I do this, you will see that it gives me the query. But here's the thing. This is where the conversations you having between you and ChatGPT matter. So it gave me the insert query, but the table was not there. It's automatically assumed that the table is there. So if I change the prompt a bit, I said, okay, if I change it a bit now, I said, can you provide me with a query and a script to create a table and import data from a local file containing product name, and sales price, sales date, and sales price into a SQL server? Guess what? So now I have the creation of the table and I have the book query. So you can see, and not only that, it's providing me some great insight. If I want, I can have that code, I can view that code, and I can dump this into a notebook, right? And automate it. Great. Doing this, you can also bring your own data. Consider if you have any Azure search connected to SQL Server or any kind of, for example, data set or indexer you have from Azure Search. You can, for example, select this. I can go back here. If you take a look here, I can connect this and add my own data. But once you add your own data, let me select this one. This is my SQL index. So how can you do this? Consider you have your Azure Search. If I click on import, I can choose to connect to SQL Server, right? I already done the connection because I know I might, for example, go to some network boundary. I can, as you can see, I was able to connect to my Synapse dedicated SQL pool, right? So now, this is the one that I have right here. As you can see, I can do that. So if I say next, I should be able, for example, to add it to my data. As you can see, now I'm having my own data there. Great. Um, uh, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So far, so good. Just for information, for those that doesn't know, we have, for those that don't know, don't use Bing, Bing have search functionality for free. You can click on chat, right? And then you can, if you click on chat, for example, you can perform same analytic. And if you click here as well, you can see that you can go above and beyond. You can compose, you can get inside. Yeah, these are the things you might need to think of. Perfect. So let's go and because we have times constraint, let's go and talk a bit about what we call prompt engineering. Everything that I just did rely on prompt engineering, correct? What is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering, as I mentioned earlier, define the quality of the conversation you are having with ChatGPT. So it's defined the task ChatGPT has to uh, work on, right? And then you can see it's a scale that is uh, where it requires kind of you have to be clear and concise, right? So here's the thing. Things you need to understand because the transformer rely on self-attentions, right? The desired goal is to focus on the context. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for you, okay, to get uh, your expected result set from ChatGPT, right? And the instructions, as you can see from the demo, we provide some instructions and we tell, and right? And then things you need to understand when it comes to the input, you have to be specific. And then anything that is too much, break it down into smaller tasks. It will be way easy for ChatGPT to understand you because the thing is, during the conversions, it will start, you know, getting all the words, kind of classifying all the words that happen to be similar. So the context at the end after the conversion may not hit as much as you want to hit. For example, transformer, it might go somewhere right here, somewhere where your answer is kind of close. So therefore, you have to understand if you don't have enough clarity doing your statement or question while communicating with ChatGPT, you may end up to have the wrong result set or something kind of close to your expectations. And there's output indicator. How would you like the response to be? Should it be in a tabular format? Should it be, for example, in a JSON format? And then provide some example. The one we just did, we have a select, and then the entire thing was rely on select, correct? So now here's the thing. Let's go to a demo. I'm gonna bring here, and I'm gonna bring my notebooks, okay? What I'm doing here, the same code you were seeing here, give me a second. If I come back here, you see those same code. This is the same kind of library that I'm importing, except that I make it a little bit more dynamic. That's it. It's just the same thing, okay? So now, what I'm doing here, once you using script, there are some parameters you have to be aware of. There's the engine, right? The engine is where you will specify which language model to use. You have prompter. Prompter parameter is the text that you will uh, send to the generative AI, right? You have max token, which define the mean and the maximum number of tokens that the model can generate. And then you have the temperature, like I explained, that's define the level of randomness. And then you also can specify kind of a keyword to specify the end of it. You can do that. And if you want to have multiple output, you can specify the number of response that you want. Consider if the response have some trailing and for example, leading, you can use what we call strip to do that. So what I'm doing here, I could have used environment variable, but I'm using just a CSV files as a configuration files, right? And then what I'm doing here is that I'm importing, okay, the library. This is my API endpoint. This is my Azure OpenAI endpoint. This is API type, and then this is the service, the API version. This is the key. This is the model, right? And then I want it to be precise because I'm generating script. I'm not sure how simple ChatGPT might go with. So I go a little bit high instead of 500, I go 7, right? But I know it's a little bit too much. I just consider already executed for you. But if I execute it, we only have 45 minutes, right? So here's the thing. If I want to check the model, I can do that here. If you're using chat completions, you can assign a role to the system user to tell ChatGPT, this is your role I want you to play. This is what I'm doing here. I said, you are a data engineer with expertise in Python. Your task is to create a simple data set and use Python to load and analyze it. So I already execute this for you. So, and consider we have, for example, let me show you this. Hopefully it is this one. We have this file and we want to load this file from Azure Data Lake to Synapse uh, Data Warehouse, what we call the dedicated SQL pool. Okay, so now what we're doing here is that this is the prompt. Instead of using the interface, I'm using the API. I said write a SQL script, okay, to load a CSV files from Azure Data Lake into Synapse Dedicated SQL pool using copy. And copy is kind of instructions. And I said this is the uh, uh, this is let me open that prompt, okay. So therefore you can see it. So I'm gonna open this prompt. If you take a look here, you will see this is copy. This is the instructions I'm giving. This is the copy. So for schema definition, what I'm telling it, okay, this information is available here. I said create two tables, okay, one for staging and the other is for productions. Sales history stage is the same, okay, it is the name of this stage table, and all field data type have to be VACA 50 because during the loading, we do not want the process to fail because of data type conversions. That's what, and I said, don't drop the stage table, right? Here I'm telling it, okay, the sales history is the production table name and the distribution key is the product ID. Okay, the schema definitions, okay, if you take a look here for sales, this is the sales history, that's the production, should be different than the sales history table. This is just kind of a reminder, okay. So now this is the definition of the schema we give it. Okay, this is the schema definitions, right? We just give it an example, and then this is the consideration. Okay, don't create any primary keys because here's the thing: we have, dedicated SQL pool is a distributed system. Primary key doesn't enforce, so there's no need to have it. And then don't check if the table exists, right? So because this is just the first time we're loading it, or consider if it's multiple times. Just for demo purpose, I just mentioned that when I execute the script, now this is just the input for the user. Okay, so now I have to create a script, and the script is the name. Now when I what I'm doing is using OpenAI. Okay, I have chat completions, and this is the parameter, right, that I provided. This is the prompt. If you take a look here, we have a system prompt, we have a user prompt. The system prompt is where we assign the role to the system. Where is it? This is the role. Perfect. So now guess what happened? When I execute the script, okay, when I execute the script, this is what get created. Where is my SQL? Where is my script files? So this is what get created, right? It's go and created the way. So now what I'm doing here is I'm defining this one, and then I'm executing this, right? So now to load this is my other prompt. Okay, so this prompt is for example, I said okay, write a SQL script to load the file. Okay, from copy, this is the copy. For some reason I'm not sure this is clean on me. Am I correct? I might need to run it live. Am I correct? Oh, sorry, I'm using the wrong thing. Perfect. Because yeah, I go back. Instead of clicking on this, I go back to this. Perfect. So now, if you take a look here, this is where, for example, I am creating a PowerShell script to load this one. Let me show you. So I'm using PowerShell script right there. I'm defining this prompt. Okay. So now here's the thing. For some reason, I'm not sure what's going on. So now, this is the PowerShell script that it's created. I'll give you a second. Where is my PowerShell script? Should be PII. This is this one. This is the PowerShell script that it's created. So the prompt is that. Let me call. Give me a second. Let me. This is. Oh, it keep on switching. No, I see. Let me close this. Give me a second, team. I'm gonna close this. Yep, perfect. Let me go back here. I'm not sure what is going on. Perfect. Cool. So now this is let me go all the way up. For some reason I'm not sure why this is acting up. Perfect. Where was I? This is where I was. Great. So now the goal is that's the copy, right? If you come back here, this is, for example, a SQL script that I wanted to generate. So if I go back and execute this, this is the script that it will regenerate, right? For some reason, it's clear my cache. I'm not sure why, and this is good. I'm not sure why. Perfect. So if you click here now, you should see that. Give me a second. Let me change this prompt. This is what a SQL script. Okay, perfect. Give me 1 second. And then let me run this. Perfect. And then let me run this. Great. So you should see that. Okay. So let me come back here. It's so funny, Tim. Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure what's going on, but let me execute it one more time. This is it. I'm going to load it. Okay. This is it. Okay. And then I'm going to execute it. So now, just give me a second. Yeah, this is the time I didn't want to wait. That's why, as you can see, it's created the script for us. You see, this is the script that it's created, but I don't know. Anyway, let me walk you to the entire script. I will share it. I'm 100% sure it's work. I'm not sure what the behavior of my system. Yeah, let me, as you can see, I just created this. So for some reason, this is right. Yeah, if you take a look here, what I'm doing here is I'm writing a another script, okay, and And that script is that I'm using Python, right? So I said PowerShell, sorry. I said write a PowerShell script, okay, to execute a local script files, okay, and then the credential. This is the credential, and I just do not want. This is the file. That's the parameter, and I actually don't provide any feedback when I execute this. Right, it's created this PowerShell script. Okay, so now, and here is that, let me, it's clear again. Let me, give me a second just to make sure that I'm getting it the right way. So not sure why this is clean because I didn't want to wait for a couple seconds. I only have a couple minutes left, right? Fully, a couple minutes. Yeah. Yeah, but team, trust me, it is what, for some reason. Anyway, um, the thing is, let me walk you through that script. This is where I upload it, and it will tells me that there is 200 records loaded. So this is it. Okay, perfect. So now, guess what? I can perform some analysis against it. So what I'm doing here, let me show you. I'm telling it to provide me some information, and then uh, I'll give me the total sales price and selling price by country names. Okay. So now here is where I define the variable name. If I execute this, you will see that it will create a script. When I execute that script, this is the result that I will get. For some reason, it clear out some of them, but not all of them. I can't explain that. When I execute the script team, this is what I will get, right? So now if I change this prompt, okay, and then let me execute this. Okay, I am going to execute this. Yeah, it didn't wipe out all of them. What I'm telling it, give me the total sales by country, and it was able to generate this script. So now, if I want to integrate this with Azure uh, OpenAI and my dedicated SQL pool, I can use LangChain to do that. So what I'm doing is use LangChain. Okay, I'm defining my credential here. For some reason, I have the history for this one. I need to save time. Okay, so here's the thing. You can see that what I'm doing here, let me explain this to you. From long change, I want to import this library, okay? And then here I'm defining my credential information, and I'm passing them here, okay? And I execute them. So you can see that it's executed successfully. So now I can use natural language to perform some analysis. For example, you can see if I execute this, I have what we call summarize sales by prototype. It gives me, it tells me, okay, this is the observations for prototype. I have accessories, safety gear, and I have name. Name are these two. Okay, um, this is the information it's providing me. I can also say, for example, current, okay, was. If I execute this, okay, it should give me the number of rows that I have. I can say summarize, okay, summarize sales by country if I want to. And by typing it, you can see the data is coming. Um, uh, Seems like I don't have country names. That's the reason why, but I can say summarize by product categories. I should be able to get. So therefore, you are using natural languages, as you can see now, right? Once you integrate it with the dedicated SQL pool. So yeah, I will share the URL. So I think I am about things you need to understand. You might need to do so, if you are new, I would suggest you to understand some of the technique when it comes to prompt engineering. You have few short prompts, which is one technique. You have chain of thought, self-consistency, and you also have React and knowledge generative. So hopefully this session was a little bit informative for you. And yeah, thank you so much.